Tonight, we're taking you inside the local food line where police say two customers clashed over a turkey, resulting in one man pulling out a gun and pointing it at the other man's face. A customer shared that video of that violence with Fox 8 this afternoon, and it's given us a clearer picture about what happened before these shots were fired outside the store on North Main Street in High Point.
So we just passed Thanksgiving, the best holiday on the entire calendar, the most American holiday. In fact, it's so American that the Canadians, trying to copy us, actually are dumb enough to have their Thanksgiving back in October. However, even though this holiday is all about good food, family, and what you're thankful for, unfortunately, in some parts of this nation, it leads to brawls, it leads to fights, and a perfect example of this is this grocery store fight turned shooting in North Carolina that appears to be over position in line and who was gonna get that oh-so-special turkey. And by the way, for those of you out there in the audience who are like, turkey is no bueno, turkey is no good, stay tuned to this channel because I will be releasing a video in the future on how to make the perfect Thanksgiving turkey that you can also duplicate for Christmas, because I am tired of the anti-turkey defamation that I'm seeing across the internet.com. But before we get into that, before we break down how you're wrong about turkey in general, we gotta talk about this crime. But before that, I gotta say I'm thankful to everybody who subscribes over at actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay.
We have now learned 64-year-old Mark Foy and 55-year-old Antonio Johnson are each being charged with going armed to the terror of the public and causing a fight in a public place, causing fear to the people in the area.
So first of all, we have to make commentary on the fact that Michael Hennessy is in fact named Michael Hennessy, and he is likely very much so on that Hennessy. That being said, also North Carolina has some weird-ass charges. Going armed to the terror of the public and starting a fight in a public place that causes chaos, or whatever the hell this other lady said, seem to be rather elaborate charges for a fight over a turkey that ultimately ended up resulting in a shooting over said turkey. But you know what? Whatever. We're not gonna focus too much on the local news people, even though the on-the-ground reporter for this particular segment is in fact attractive, and you preverts will prevert out if I don't mention that. We're going to focus on the task at hand. We're going to focus on what is being cooked up in this particular North Carolina supermarket, because yes, the turkey has come home to roost for these two individuals.
So, Katie, Michael, those people were actually really hesitant to speak to me about the shooting that happened last night. I did speak to a woman off camera, and she says she comes to this grocery store pretty frequently to grab her groceries, and she needed to do so today, which she was a bit hesitant, but she says she still came, but she felt like her senses were heightened while she was grabbing her groceries. Police say it all started when a customer began to argue with the Food Lion employee over a turkey. While that wasn't captured on video, this was when another customer stepped in and two customers got into a fight, and a gun was pulled.
So look, I have to blur out the violence in this particular segment, but needless to say, what you actually end up seeing if you go to the link in the description and watch the whole segment for yourself is a fist fight that is happening in the store over something related to a turkey. Now, my guess is, if I had to approximate, the turkey was supposed to be on sale for a certain price. That particular turkey that this guy grabbed did not actually ring up as the sale. Therefore, the only resulting thing that can happen in this kind of situation is a full-out brawl over this turkey, not calling over the manager, not going to the section where the turkey came from, taking a picture of the price tag and bringing it back to the clerk. None of that would be a reasonable alternative to what went down right here, so obviously it became a fight to the death, again, over a turkey that an individual tried to buy from this particular store. Also very notable and very important for you guys to understand to get a concept of what kind of a neighborhood this actually is that the woman that she ended up talking to and a bunch of people that she tried to talk to either refused to talk or refused to speak on camera, and this was due to the fact that they fear retaliation, that in this particular neighborhood, in this particular community, you calling out criminality could potentially lead to you suffering or being the victim of a crime yourself. And again, again, it is a sad, sorry state in the United States of America, and while I'm thankful for so many things in this great nation, this kind of attitude, these kind of communities are not among them. This is something that we should leave behind, we should abandon, but you know what? It's America, it's a certain section of the United States of America, so none of us should be surprised by this particular outcome.
Police are now naming the two men, 64-year-old Mark Foy and 55-year-old Antonio Johnson.
Everybody get out! No! Don't pull your gun! He got a gun! No! Don't pull your gun! Don't pull your gun! Stop! Put the gun down!
Eventually, Foy and Johnson stop fighting and walk opposite ways to exit the store.
Now, the local news media isn't exactly clear on who is who in this particular scenario, what led to the actual fight in this particular case. However, the pulling out of the gun after the fight has been broken up by the white individual in this particular video, totally unacceptable behavior, absolute nonsense in every possible way, because again, it's one thing for you to be in a fight for your life, and in the moment, you draw a weapon when you could actually, end up getting seriously injured and or killed. But when customers come in, they split up the fight, they stop this from happening, and then a weapon is pulled after the fact. That is wildly inappropriate. Not to mention, the gun was pointed directly at the head of the other individual, and yeah, you can't have this nonsense. And again, with the limited information that I have right now at this moment, I would actually charge the person who pulled the weapon, who escalated this to a potential deadly force encounter, again, in a public place, in a grocery store, where all the customers are behind the person that he is pointing the gun at, under more scrutiny and give him stricter charges, because yeah, this is unacceptable. Look, you're not supposed to fight. Again, the black guy could have very easily have started the fight, but once the fight has been disengaged, once it's over, you really need to understand that the self-defense situation is completely null and void. You gotta think of self-defense like a moving window. If you are in line and all the circumstances line up, then yes, you are able to defend yourself, and in certain situations, defend yourself with deadly force. However, once that window moves away, that situation is over. You can no longer engage in the fight. You need to back off. And again, this is all over a stupid ass argument related to a turkey. Whoever started it at this point in time makes no matter. You have people actually intervening to break this up. They've been separated. You cannot pull a gun in this particular situation. And of course, it is being reported that they went their separate ways after this moment. But this is also a mistake. I would have kept the person who did not draw a firearm in the store, have the other person exit the store, because obviously, if you've ever been to a grocery store, leaving the opposite way means absolutely nothing if you can just converge in the parking lot and re-engage.
You can see that here, but it's what happens after the video that left people running for their lives. We get a glimpse of that terrifying moment through a 911 call.
We just had an altercation and a gun was almost pulled. What do you mean? They're shooting. At the food line on North Main Street, they're shooting. Okay, all right, everybody get down. Is anybody hit? What's in the building? Go out the back door.
Investigators say one of the men went outside and got a gun. The two exchanged gunfire outside the store. Police say Johnson was shot in the arm and treated at a local hospital.
So there's a reason I like to break down these cases in individual sections as individual separate instances, because in reality, when you're evaluating this particular case, that is exactly how they are to be examined. So we talked about the fight that went on. Again, I couldn't show you the video, but it was a fist fight in the grocery store. We showed you that somebody ended up breaking up said fist fight, and then the white individual, I believe he's called Floyd, ended up drawing his firearm and pointing it directly at the head of the person that he was just fighting. And I said that was inappropriate, and the more severe charges, if it ended right here, should go to that white individual. But then we hear from the details of the case that the black individual and the white individual exit the stores facing separate areas. However, the black individual retrieved a gun, probably from his vehicle, and then re-engaged in the fight, which became a shootout with the white individual that ultimately ended up leaving Mr. Johnson Johnson wounded. And again, this just makes no sense. What are you doing? Are you absolutely insane? It terrified all the people that were in the store thinking that the shooting was going down in there because these two idiots are exchanging gunfire. And again, the white person needlessly escalated, but it could have been done with right there. The charges could have reflected that needless post-fight escalation, but the black guy could not let it go in this particular case. His pride was wounded. He didn't like having a gun pointed at him, so he decides to grab his own gun. And again, we are now fighting a battle to the death over the price of a turkey, presumably, at this particular store shortly before Thanksgiving. Is this really worth it? Is this really a good productive use of your time? Remember what I said about that self-defense window? Well, the window just closed when the white guy pulled the gun on the black dude. Totally inappropriate, totally unjustified, but the window was already gone. It had been removed, sealed up with bricks by the time that this guy pulled out his own gun and re-engaged the fight outside of the store, which ultimately ended up leading to him getting shot because the man is an absolute idiot in every possible way. And again, this situation could have totally been prevented in the first place by just not fighting over a turkey price or whatever the hell was at issue, but then been prevented by just leaving it where it was after the fight was over. And by the way, you can actually see based on the video that the black guy is delivering significantly more punches to the white guy in the physical fight, so he could say he won the fight. He got the pride W in that particular case, but instead he ended up doubling up his own criminal charges because he's an absolute buffoon.
People in the nearby area thought it was coming from the building they were in. We can hear that in these calls for help.
At the YMCA in High Point, behind like the food line and AMC. They're told there's an active shooter. Are you at the Y? I'm at the Y. I'm hiding right now, yeah.
Now, I'm not exactly sure why the local news is dubbing the voices of the people calling 911, because it actually ends up nerfing the panic that you hear from these people's voices, because again, they're under the impression that there's an active shooter situation going down all over a fight over a turkey. It's affecting multiple businesses in this complex, so you have people hiding thinking that their life is over, again, while they were trying to do Thanksgiving shopping. And what is this over? What is this fight actually caused by? A turkey price initially, and then ever stupider manners of escalation post whatever argument they were having over the price of a turkey. It's insane. It's madness. I'm so sick of this nonsense in this country, and honestly, the charges are not strict enough, even though they definitely sound pretty damn elaborate.
Meanwhile, inside the Food Lion store, customers hid where they could until police came to get them.
We're in the back.
Do you know where the shooter is?
Customers. I have no idea where the shooter is.
Okay.
We're in the back. We locked ourselves up in the back room.
How many are with you?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7.
7 in the back room? Like is it an employee room?
Yeah, it looks like an employee room.
Okay.
Nearly 24 hours later, the only thing left from the chaos is this: a bullet hole in the store window.
So as you just heard right there, you have the people hiding in the back. There was a bullet hole in the window of the store. And again, I will remind you that this fight was over nothing important, and somebody could have died. Somebody got shot. And yeah, unfortunately, this is something that is possible. This is something that is not all that uncommon in certain sections of the United States of America. And honestly, it's shameful. Again, just before Thanksgiving, you're going to torpedo your lives. And by the way, both of these men, one of them's over 60, the other one is approaching 60, are not young, spry youths or teens getting involved in this particular argument. They're full-grown adults. There's no excuse for this. But you know what? I want to know what you guys think about it down in the comments below. As per usual, if you like this video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on my social medias, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about madness in North Carolina. Till next time.